Y'all know the saying. You got to show up and be twice as good to get barely the same that the person next to you get. Welcome to Her Agency, the podcast. I'm your host, Brandi Rand. This is a space curated for Black women in advertising who are bold enough to pick up the pen, write the brief, take up space, and own their agency. "17 years working in advertising, not seeing a space or an opportunity to have community with Black women who are thriving in advertising. And I wish I had that so bad. I wasn't exposed to the potential of a community that could be that impactful until my last role in advertising. I raised my hand to be the lead, the national lead of a business resource group called Onyx. In this role, I had three amazing women on my team who helped us build and foster a community. We would work in the trenches, unpaid, oftentimes unacknowledged, but we knew the value of putting in the work and doing the thing to create the space. It wasn't until this time where I saw the value and the impact and the nurturing that a true community of like minds with people with the same lived experience could have. Black women, we know a lot about community. We are the ones who bring everybody together for the family holidays, often the times kicking off the family reunions, and will keep a cookout live. We are the ones who know how to nurture when we see someone who is not necessarily at their best or could be doing better and doing more. We're the ones who make sure that you have food on your plate. We will make sure that you pull up, you're nurtured, you're taken care of, you're warm, you have shelter. We know all about when we don't have the power enough to sustain, to reach out and be like, "Hey girl, let me tell you about this experience. Let me tell you what happened." So often in spaces, especially in corporate America, we are alone, and there's not necessarily the opportunity to build said community. So we look around for organizations that are in our backyard, that are aligned with our vision, our values, but sometimes they fulfill our needs and sometimes they don't. But what I do know in my heart of hearts is when you find the right community that allows you to feel validated and feel seen, you thrive. There's been so many times in my career where I just wanted to ask the question, hey, how do I negotiate this pay raise? I feel like I'm being underpaid. I'm not sure. Don't really have a perspective of what someone gets paid at this level. Can you help me out? Or having a hook a sister up moment. Cent Marshall, former CEO of the Dallas Mavs, really leans into this. And this is just the perspective of saying, hey girl, let me help you out. Let me hook you up. Let me make this thing just a little bit easier for you to navigate. I know there's been times when you were the only one in the room and there was nobody to just like shoot a little chat to be like, hey, did that land the wrong way? Hey, was that a slight? Was there some bias or some tone in the way they said that to me? I've also experienced being one of the only Black people in management in a room and hearing how colleagues would talk about young Black employees and their ambitions outside of work. Not seeing it as an opportunity to tap into their creative genius, but more so as an opportunity to pass them up for their promotion because their hearts and minds weren't necessarily in it for the long run for the work. I've also experienced being in industry communities or going to industry events and being alone. Now, mind you, I'm a master networker, so I don't meet a stranger and I know how to move around the rooms and connect. But sometimes we don't know how to do that and move in those spaces. And it would be a better experience if we had somebody just to connect with, tell us how to navigate, tell us how to move, and tell us how to connect. Community is so critical right now, just based on the state of the state in America. Yeah, there's some political challenges that we are going to face as Black women, and some things haven't gone our way as of late. But what I know about Black women is our fortitude and our ability to still lean in, still do the work, and still push through and persevere. However, sometimes we just don't have the capacity to do that on our own. And we need to be able to look to our left, look to our right, and say, hey, I need some support. So often, Black women are the breadwinners in their families. And so what they do from a corporate perspective and what you're doing in advertising right now makes all the difference, not just for you individually, but your family, maybe even your parents if you're supporting them. And what I know is you need to be able to have a safe place to land to make sure that the moves that you're making in corporate America, especially in institutions and industries that weren't made to serve us in the first place, like advertising, that you have the opportunity to lean in and to get some support. For me, community really means diving into the hard conversations, but knowing that there won't be a negative impact on the backside. We have to be able to be vulnerable and not always be the strong Black woman and sometimes be the angry Black woman. But in communities that are built for us, that are safe for us, we can be all the things. We can be the joyful optimist. We can be the reluctant worker. We can be the quiet quitter, looking for a place to have a conversation about, like, what's my next move? I need it to be my best move. There's so many times when we see a post on LinkedIn or an article go out about this CMO or this CEO stepping down, but that CEO or CMO is a Black woman who held a bit of power, but was put in a position to be marginalized and ultimately shown the door. It's hard out here. It is so hard, and community is key. When you think about what you need to be able to do to call in favors or have your name spoken in rooms that you're not in, that's what community looks like. When we talk about having a mentor or having a sponsor, somebody who can truly go to bat and advocate for you, that type of relationship is built in a community. And if for whatever reason you happen to be the introvert who is not comfortable going out, introducing yourself, making the connections, making the relations, if you're in a community where the whole goal is to do just that, and you're empowered to feel more comfortable being you and showing up and asking the question to get the yes, that's what you need in a community. And that's what her agency, The Collective, is for. I'll tell you one more story about community when it really resonated with me. I was going through a cohort as a senior leader at my last agency. And this was really the time where I was exposed to other women at a very high level, VPs and higher, having real conversations about the things that they didn't have coming up in the game, the things that were going on currently, how we were leaving advertising left and right. And it really made me validate and feel seen that I'm not the only one experiencing this thing. When you are in a space where you're comfortable, you can let your hair down, you can rock your braids, and then change it up and put on the lace front the next day, and you know that there's other people championing you and seeing you and validating you and co-signing the awesome work and the awesomeness that you are as a Black woman, nothing feels better. And you know the feeling. I'm sure you've experienced it once, whether it was in work, at church, in a sorority. You've experienced once, and you know that feeling, and you want to hold on to it. You want to bottle it up. So what I've done with her agency Collective is created a space where it doesn't have to be bottled up. It's there. That's the through line: community and connectivity for the greater good of the industry. Why is it necessary? Because we need you in the room. Yeah, I did my 17 years. I'm very proud of the track record that I have. I have a 100% higher rate for people of color, over indexing for Black women. I am so excited by the work that I've done. However, I'm noticing a very alarming trend. We are leaving the industry in droves. And sometimes it's on our own accord because we are burnt out and tired of the lack of reciprocity for our genius. On the other side, we are getting pushed out because we're not seen and we're not valued, and our experience, our lived experience it's not honored. We just don't get a chance to be. Y'all know the saying, you got to show up and be twice as good to get barely the same that the person next to you get. You've worked or been managed by a mediocre person. A meme that I recently seen that I love, or actually a snippet from former President Barack Obama, says, "You fight and you fight to get to the top, and then once you get in rooms with those top people, you look around to your left and your right, and you see these people are not that great. They're not that great. They're not that smart. They're not that kind, and they're not that inclusive." You need a community to battle and combat all of that, but you don't have to be strong and do it alone. Again, community is where you're going to feel seen, feel validated, and we want to invite you in. So if you're thinking about what's really going to be the shift to let me take my career and my passion to be creative and my passion to do strategy and my passion to lead accounts to the next level, I bet the part that's missing for you is community. So if you feel that way, if anything I've said over the last 15, 20 minutes has touched a part of your corporate soul, tap into her agency, The Collective. We look forward to welcoming you. Make this next year your best year. Are you a Black girl in advertising? If so, we've created the most amazing space just for you. If you are ready to thrive and not just survive in this male-dominated space, if you want to lock arms, build community and culture with others that look like you, join her agency, The Collective, a place where we're having real conversations, doing the work, building our brands, taking up space, and owning our agency. See you there.